We have created a series of videos to discuss Texas' long range plan for technology and how you can create a custom plan for your district. First, let's talk about who these videos are for and how to use them. Who is this for? This is designed to guide every district to create their own long range plan for technology. This can also be used to guide individual campuses and classroom teachers. Let's talk about what you will need to best utilize these videos. First, your team. Who in your district is a vital part of the technology conversation? How can you involve the necessary parties and decision makers? Second, bring your creativity. We all face new and evolving challenges daily as we do our best to serve our students. Our technological resources are important and exciting tools that create opportunities for us to think outside the box as we work together to plan for technology and education. Third, download the workbook associated with this module. We will be reflecting on what you're already doing, what you want to begin, and what your goals are. We will be talking about big ideas in these interactive videos. The workbook is a vital part of the process. See the link below to download your workbook now. What are some of the things you'll see in these videos? As we go, you'll see an orange box like this pop up periodically. These definitions will help expand on what we are discussing. You will also see this white folder. This is to remind you to check out the resources that help expand the topic being discussed. These videos are meant to be interactive. We will provide opportunities to pause the video throughout to reflect or make notes in your workbook. So go ahead, pause this video now to gather your supplies and print the workbook. Download using the link on your screen. What is the LRPT and how is it structured? The Long Range Plan for Technology, the LRPT, is an outline of strategic goals for technology in Texas and is intended to be used as a visionary guide to inform and influence educators as you make personalized decisions for your learners. The LRPT is structured into 6 strategic goals. Each strategic goal has 3 focus areas defined within it to help guide strategy creation. Each focus area is further broken down to include the biggest challenge, suggested actions, and short and long-term outcomes. The larger LRPT structure informs how to use these videos and how their resources are structured. There is one video for each of the 18 focus areas. This will allow you to watch the videos in order of what's most pertinent for your district. Each video will introduce the strategic goal and one focus area within it, digging into the challenge, each suggested action, and the short and long-term outcomes. Now, let's look at the LRPT structure as a whole. Remember, the LRPT is first broken down into 6 strategic goals, incorporating statewide trends in technology. Goal number 1, personalized, flexible, empowered learning. Goal number 2, equitable access. Goal number 3, digital citizenship. Goal number 4, safety and security. Goal number 5, collaborative leadership. Goal number 6, reliable infrastructure. As you think about how these goals relate to your district, remember that every school district is unique, so every conversation will be unique. While many share a great deal of challenges, like budget, competing priorities, and security threats, each technology plan should be tailored to individual needs, opportunities, and constraints you have. It's because of this uniqueness that the larger goals are further broken down into 18 individual focus areas. Each focus area reviews challenges, suggested actions, and short-term and long-term outcomes. We will be expanding on this framework during this video, guiding you to build a plan that serves you best. Because it's most likely that you will go through these videos and topics as needed instead of the order of the document, we have built a reference guide to help you easily find where you are in the document, what's next, and what focus area you are in. LRPT will be the first part of the reference description. Next, you will see the strategic goal listed as G, followed by the goal number 1 through 6. Then, the focus area will be highlighted as F, followed by the focus number within the strategic goal, 1 through 3. Lastly, the current section of the focus area will be listed. This could be either the challenge, indicated with a C, one of the actions, indicated with an A and the number, or the short-term or long-term outcome, indicated with either STO for short-term outcome or LTO for long-term outcome. Look for the reference diagram and reference notation in the corner of the slides throughout the video. The fourth strategic goal for Texas Long-Range Plan for Technology is safety and security. The concept of safety and security covers a broad spectrum of services that we strive to consistently provide our students and our entire learning community. This goal requires us to create safety and security on our campuses and in our cyber environments. Also, we must ensure the district's cybersecurity practices are up to date and provide complete protections in digital settings. Lastly, intentionally organizing data management and governance is necessary for building lasting safety and security. Remember to pause this video to print your workbook if you haven't already. Now that we have introduced the strategic goal, let's review the focus areas. There are 3 focus areas to help guide the realization of this goal. Focus area number 1, campus and cyber safety. Focus area number 2, cybersecurity. Focus area number 3, data management and governance. Let's zoom in to focus area number 2. Focus area number 2 is cybersecurity. What are we referring to when we use the term cybersecurity in this video? Broadly, cybersecurity is the measures taken to achieve protection against the criminal or unauthorized use of electronic data. Cybersecurity isn't just about protecting the organization from disruption or financial loss. It is a crucial practice to protect students from harm. Educational institutions are entrusted to safeguard students, many of whom are minors, but a weak cybersecurity infrastructure puts them at risk. Despite the major challenges like lack of staffing or funding and resources, cyber attacks are no less frequent or severe in education. This is why we need to do everything we can to ensure our applications and systems are protected and work to overcome any challenges. Refer to the resources below for more information on what cybersecurity is and why it's important. Each district will address cybersecurity in a different manner and with varying resources. That's why each focus area is broken down into the main challenge, action steps to be taken, and short and long-term outcomes to watch for. First, let's talk about the challenge of cybersecurity in education. Remember to download the workbook as a tool to collect your notes and reflections. Because technology is constantly evolving and schools' use of it has drastically changed over the past couple of years, the challenges surrounding cybersecurity change rapidly as well. One of the biggest challenges here is understanding how many resources are available and how to use this most effectively for a dynamic need. The increasing sophistication of threats, increasing quantity and complexity of digital systems, limited availability of security professionals, the potential catastrophic impact of breaches, and the addition of virtual learning are all variables in the decisions we make regarding what actions to take and where to place our resources. Thinking of these concerns in relation to your district's cybersecurity plans, would you describe your practices as strategic, as intentional? Do you put practices in place proactively based on data and trends, or solely in reaction to negative events? Even with strategic and proactive practices, there will always be shortfalls experienced in areas such as technology and/or professional shortfalls. How are you planning for and compensating for these types of shortfalls? Use the resources below to guide you in further exploring this challenge. Pause the video here and use your workbook to reflect on how you use your resources for strategic practices and to compensate for inherent shortfalls. We know the challenge. Now let's think about our first action. Action number 1 is to develop a collaborative security team. What does your district's collaborative security team look like? These are things to look for when assessing or planning for your team. The team is led by a cybersecurity coordinator who assesses risks based on industry standards, oversees the creation of a cybersecurity plan, prioritizes cybersecurity resources, and plans for risks against infrastructure, data privacy, and devices. Pause the video here to note in your workbook what your district's cybersecurity team looks like and how it meets the listed bullet points. Who holds the cybersecurity coordinator role in your district or school? Is this role clearly defined? It is also important to note here that this position could quickly evolve as changes in education-related technology occurs. Think of the drastic change to virtual learning. How are you planning for the evolution of this role in its definition and expectations? Once this position is filled and clearly defined, the cybersecurity coordinator will be able to lead the prioritization of resources to address greater risks. How are risks being assessed currently? Do the risks prioritized include risks to infrastructure, data, privacy, and devices? Use the resources below to gather more information about building a security team. Pause the video here to write your reflection in your workbook before we move on to the next action. Let's move on to action number 2. A cybersecurity plan designed to maximize the security and resiliency of the district. This plan establishes a set of objectives and protocols to help keep your students safe. It outlines the duties and responsibilities of individuals. This type of plan also addresses what will take place in the event that an incident does occur and how you respond. Lastly, it recognizes the fact that cyber threats are continually advancing and devising ways to adapt so that you're always improving your security. Pause the video here to review what your district's cybersecurity plan includes and if it has all of these areas within it. Assessing your cybersecurity plan should also include ensuring there are standards to address the following: ransomware, next-generation firewall, keeping devices and networks up to date, reducing the use of unsupported software, decreasing overall security vulnerabilities, restrictions for open source or free software on school-issued devices. Pause the video here and use your workbook to note what is included in your cybersecurity plan and what you are missing. Now that you've done a quick assessment of what is and is not included in your cybersecurity plan, how will you address what is missing? How will you remain up to date on new threats and technology developments that would require addendums or adjustments to your plan? Check out the resources below for more information on developing your cybersecurity plan. Pause to use the workbook to reflect on how you will grow and develop your cybersecurity plan. How is your cybersecurity coordinator empowered to make changes as necessary? Now let's move on to action number 3. Action number 3 for building cybersecurity is to train staff members at an ongoing basis. How are staff members trained to ensure they are up to date? While there are many aspects of cybersecurity that are beneficial for staff to be aware of, 3 topics stand out as most vital for success. Staff being up to date on district or school policies in this area, understanding how to recognize signs of suspicious activity, and how to report incidents or concerns to the security team. Pause the video here and use your workbook to note how your district staff is trained to have a clear understanding of at least these 3 topics. As you're thinking through if these trainings are offered, it is also helpful to consider the processes that are included in the content of the training. When something is flagged for concern, how are staff members made aware of suspicious activity? What about if a staff member identifies a concern? What is the reporting system that allows them to quickly communicate with the security team? Check out the resources below for more information on these topics. Pause the video here and use the workbook to reflect on some of the processes that will be included in your training and what they will entail. The last action for this focus area is action number 4. Action number 4 is to leverage current plans. How are you currently leveraging the district's information security plan and security assessments? This plan and assessment data can be used to obtain executive sponsorship for cybersecurity initiatives, seek state and federal cybersecurity funding, and advocate for a focus on cybersecurity. Pause the video here to write in your workbook the ways in which you are currently using the district's information security plan and security assessments. Now that you've reviewed how you currently leverage this information, how will you continue to remain aware of state and federal funding opportunities? An important part of having a greater understanding of security plans and assessment data is to then advocate for a continued focus on cybersecurity. How will you continue to advocate for this focus? Use the resources below for more information on how to leverage plans in your district's favor. Pause the video here and use your workbook to outline how you will continue to grow these areas of your plans. Now that we understand the challenge and have some actionable ideas, let's look at outcomes. The short-term outcome of focusing on cybersecurity is adequate resources to effectively manage the security program and reduced risk and vulnerability. Based on the concepts we've discussed so far, what would adequate resources to effectively manage the security program in your district include? How would you use what we've outlined here and customize them for your district? Check out the resources below for more information on having adequate management resources. Pause the video here to reflect on what this would look like in your workbook. Lastly, let's review the long-term outcome. The long-term outcome of this goal is continued protection of private and confidential information, minimized exposure to cyber attacks, and a mature risk-based security program. How would you define a mature risk-based security program for your district? How would your security team uphold this type of program in perpetuity? Use the resources below to help guide your answers to these questions. Pause the video here and use your workbook to reflect on how you would enable ever-evolving protection for your district. We've covered everything for this focus area. Now what? Continue to reflect on what you are doing and what you have done in support of this focus area. What obstacles and successes came to mind during this video? Who else should be included in this conversation? Find your team. Who is needed to move this focus area forward? Use your workbook and the provided resources as a starting point for a larger conversation around this goal. Start with action 1 and work with your team through each action step to make this a sustainable and customized plan for your district. The ideas you're writing in your workbook will be the material you use to build your district's LRPT. How will you use this reflection process to inform your plan? Lastly, write a short summary statement for this focus area. How would you summarize what you've done and what you need to do for this focus area based on your work so far? Pause the video here to write down your summary statement in your workbook. Thank you for your work to transform Texas education through technology.